Baby girl, today we are talking skin health. As someone who has spent practically 20 years dealing with stubborn acne, let me tell you this. Sometimes the symptom you are experiencing is actually not the problem. It's the messenger. My hormonal acne that I lived 20 plus years with was trying to tell me something, but I was not listening. I was not paying attention because I just did not know how to. Instead, it was hundreds of dollars spent on products, treatments, appointments, hoping the next one would finally be the answer. I used to believe clear skin came in a tube or a bottle. A better cleanser, a stronger treatment, another dermatologist prescribed ointment. But after 2 decades of trying everything, I finally discovered what my messenger was saying. And that changed everything for me, totally transforming my relationship with my skin. And today, I am sharing what that was. You are listening to the S.A.M Show podcast, the home for ambitious women and even a few really good top-tier men who are committed to learning, growing, and becoming just 1% better every single day. I'm your host, Shari Mitchell, writer, journalist, media host, and certified professional life coach who is obsessed with all things wellness and personal development. Around here, we talk about living well, thinking well, and becoming well because I believe a most fulfilling, purposeful life is not one that's built with brute force overnight. Rather, it's built with one intentional, sustainable choice at a time. Here at S.A.M Show, S.A.M is more than just my initials. It stands for becoming soft, aligned, and magnetic. It means seeing yourself clearly, honoring your needs, owning your story, and walking in your worth. So whether you're listening on your morning walk, during your commute, or while folding laundry, I am so glad that you're here. Let's get into today's conversation. Hello, lovely. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I think most of us have been taught to treat symptoms that we're dealing with rather than ask where are they coming from. We get headaches, so we take painkillers. We feel tired, so we drink more coffee or we have more energy drinks. We break out, so we buy another skincare product. That was certainly my approach to any physical ailment that I had. For most of my teenage years and well into adulthood, I genuinely believed that my skin was my biggest enemy. Every breakout chipped away at my confidence. Every new product gave me hope. Every disappointment sent me back to square one. And looking back now, I realized that my body was not actually working against me. It was trying to work with me. It was trying to warn me. It was trying to tell me something. I simply didn't know how to understand what it was saying. So if you look at the Substack written version of this audio, which is linked in the description of this, you will find Exhibit A, an image of me, a full-fledged adult in my early 20s, with a face filled to the brim with inflamed acne marks. Yes, I posted that online. It was a crazy time. And to be honest, I don't have many pictures of my face like this for obvious reasons. So that's the best that you'll get. But as soon as I hit the age of 11, and for damn near all of my teenage years, working the age trajectory up to my 20s, my skin was my enemy. I can distinctly remember looking into mirrors and immediately noticing the overnight breakouts or comparing my skin to that of other girls that I went to school with. Those blessed with smoother, unblemished textures. You know, I was like, why me? Why was I the one forced to deal with the complete tragedy of dark blemishes, scarring, inflammation, rough patches, painful spots, all of which seemed to surface overnight and linger on my cheeks for weeks, having to paint my face with so much makeup to camouflage my uneven skin tone, wondering if people were looking at me or simply staring at my acne whenever I spoke to them, and overall feeling embarrassed whenever I had to speak to someone face to face, or even if someone tried to touch my face. I'm telling you, it was torture. If you're listening to this or watching this and you've ever struggled with acne yourself, or you know of someone who did, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It affects your confidence, your self image, your self worth, your willingness to be seen, your relationship with yourself and others, and even your finances. Ironically, I didn't start changing my nutrition because of my skin. That wasn't even a thought. I actually started changing my nutrition because of my weight. I entered 2020 20 pounds overweight, and I truly felt uncomfortable in my body. So I wanted to make a change. With that global issue that was happening, I had all the time in the world to focus on myself and begin what became a very serious weight loss journey at the time. By that point, I had bought enough decent products and figured out a way to manage my breakouts. So my goals had zero to do with skincare. I simply wanted to feel healthier and look better in my clothes and to feel great about myself when I woke up and faced myself in the mirror. So the weight had to go. And in that 9-month journey, somewhere along the way, can you imagine my shock when I noticed that my body was not the only thing that was changing? By the 6th month, my mind exploded when I realized that my acne scars started fading away. The inflammation decreased, the breakouts became less frequent, and my complexion started to even itself out again. At that point in adulthood, I had entered my 30s. I had given up on my skin ever becoming clear, to be honest. So those ripple effects of losing weight were such a pleasant surprise to me. The stubborn cycle had finally seemed to break. Not because of what I started eating, but what I started rejecting. Before I begin though, I have to say this is not medical advice. I am not a medical practitioner in any way. This is simply what worked for me and for my skin, for my body. But these are the very foods that I significantly reduced or removed altogether from my diet, which gave me that clear, smooth skin I had always dreamed of. Number 1, animal-based dairy products. This was one of the best and biggest game changers, if not the biggest. Growing up, consuming animal-based dairy was so normal. And to be honest, it still is. I would have cow's milk with my cereal and my teas, in milk drinks and smoothies, and sometimes I would drink a glass of it before bed. That was so normal for me. Cheese was also something I consumed regularly. Cheese sandwiches, cheese pizzas, anything had cheese. I could go on and on. Dairy was honestly considered healthy, necessary even, and most of the commercials on TV that advocated for dairy products, they told us so. Also, at that time growing up, there were not that many alternatives like almond milk, oat milk, or even vegan cheese as there are today. So I thought nothing of consuming milk, dairy. But after removing animal-based dairy products from my routine and stepping into a more plant-based diet for the sake of dropping those few pounds, I noticed significant improvements in my skin almost immediately, and I did not see it coming. For me, switching from animal-based dairy to plant-based dairy seemed to be one of the strongest weapons in my fight against hormonal acne. Number 2, copious amounts of meat. As a Caribbean girl, I have eaten meat all my life. Chicken, beef, goat, lamb, sausages, oxtail, you name it, I've had it and I probably love it. But tell me why when I dramatically reduced my intake and focused more heavily on whole plant foods, my skin improved? I was shook. And it was yet another unexpected surprise simply from removing something from my diet. I asked myself, how did I not know this or even think about this when I was younger? What changed wasn't just the meat itself. Yes, I removed it temporarily from my diet for maybe 3 months so that I could focus on boosting my body's metabolism and ability to break down food faster. However, when I noticed that not only my weight was moving at a faster pace, my skin also had this glow and youthfulness to it. Obviously, I got hooked. So I replaced that meat with more legumes, beans, veggies, fruits, and fiber-rich foods. And the more plant-based foods that I ate, the better my body seemed to function overall. The third thing that I removed from my diet was vegetable oils. This one took longer to understand because oil was and is also another thing that is a part of my everyday existence. And I'm pretty sure that there's oil and saturated fat in everything that I eat. However, once I started loving the shift into plant-based living, I attempted the plant-based diet called the Starch Solution. And to be honest, one of the requirements of this diet was the removal of oil from your diet for maximum weight loss. I thought, okay, sounds difficult, but I'll try it. And this strict determination led to the start of becoming truly observant and understanding how to read ingredient labels at the back of packages to see what I was really eating, how much oil was in it, how much sugar was in it, how many carbs were in it, how much salt was in it. And also watching many Netflix documentaries on how the global population has been scammed into eating a poorly nutritious diet on a daily basis. That coupling just enlightened me in ways I could never truly describe. What I discovered simply by becoming more aware of what I was putting into my body was mind-blowing. After so many years, I learned that what my body wanted, what my skin wanted, was simply eating foods closer to their natural, God-given state. Before we continue, I want to take this moment to quickly mention something. If today's conversation is hitting close to home and you're thinking, I wish I could unpack more of this with someone, that's exactly why I created the Everyday Becoming Coffee Chat. It's a relaxed 45-minute one-to-one conversation where we sit down, drink in hand, untangle whatever feels messy, and find practical next steps together. Whether you're rebuilding your confidence, learning how to believe in and trust yourself, trying to become more consistent, navigating heartbreak, improving your wellness habits, or simply figuring out your next chapter, I invite you to chat with me. I'd love to support you. You'll find the booking link for this opportunity in today's show notes. Right, let's get back to the episode. The fourth thing that I removed from my diet was also copious amounts of processed sugar. So this is our last point, and if I had to identify one of the most noticeable triggers for me personally, it would be my excessive intake of processed sugar. Because when I was younger, sugar wasn't an occasional treat. It was a regular habit. There are bakeries everywhere in the Caribbean. We love sugary juices, snacks, desserts, pastries, breads, and you can find it everywhere. And unbeknownst to me, it all took a toll on my skin. Worse yet, when I moved to London for university and I began hanging out at the pub, drinking beers with my fellow student friends, that is when my skin and health really went downhill. And I was just so oblivious to all of it. But as a young adult, I was so into having fun and living my best life that I did not realize that it was wreaking havoc on my overall well-being. Fast forward to now, thanks to my new weight loss habits, while I still do enjoy treats, of course, the difference is moderation. Simply because every time that I return to excessive sugar consumption, my body reminds me of why I left. So I just don't return. What I discovered is that the more sugar you eat is the more sugar that you want. So breaking that cycle with discipline, consistency, and simply just accepting that I had to do some hard things, that changed everything. It turns out I was not simply losing weight, I was reducing my inflammation. I was supporting my body's natural processes and natural desires, and I was giving my body the nutrients that it needed and wanted, instead of constantly asking it to work around foods that didn't serve me at all. So in closing, I have to acknowledge that the biggest lesson from this journey was not what I learned about acne. It's what I learned about health overall. It was about learning, finally, about the type of nutrition that my unique body likes. I learned that our bodies are constantly speaking to us in subtle ways at first, but if we refuse to listen, the communication will just get louder and louder. Today, I still care about skincare. I still get that unwanted pimple ever so often, especially when it's that time of the month. So today, I still enjoy a good cleanser, a good face mask. I love an anti-aging moisturizer. Those things bring me joy. However, I no longer believe healthy skin begins in the product aisle or the dermatologist's office anymore. For me, healthy skin began on my plate. And that's where my out of the blue, unexpected transformation started. And years later, that choice to lose weight has been one of the best decisions that I've ever made, because from that one choice, so many other things happen. Not because my skin became perfect after all of these years, but because I finally learned how to care for my body in a natural, nutritious, holistic way that continues to help it thrive. So I'd love to hear from you now. Have you ever discovered a connection between your diet and your well-being? Let me know. Keep becoming, my lovely, and I'll see you in the next upload. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. If today's conversation encouraged you, I would love for you to subscribe and also share this episode with anyone you think might need it. You can also find the written version of today's episode over on my Substack, and it will also be available in the show notes attached to this audio. The video version for this can also be found on YouTube. If you'd like to go deeper, you can also book an Everyday Becoming coffee chat with me, browse my collection of digital resources, download my free guides, or support the continued production of this podcast with a donation. Every link is waiting for you in today's show notes. Until next time, keep becoming, keep choosing yourself, keep living with intention, and I will see you in the next one.